All right. Here, let's plug that. Okay, plug that in. Okay. That way you can have it working for you. There you go. Okay. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. So tonight, I thought about doing a separate book because usually I do a separate book and then some of the stories in here, or at least I have the past couple of nights. But I don't really have another small Christian themed book. And I mean, I do, but they're also Christmas stories. Actually, you know what? I think we have. Where's our mouse one? Where's the mouse one? Hold on. I might scratch that. Hold on. So, here we go. Yeah, you know what? Let's do a mouse's Christmas gift. That way. Yeah, because I don't know. I like to have a little bit of a Christian theme on each one. And these next stories coming up. First night was easy because we talked about the birth of Jesus, but yeah. Okay, yeah, let's do this. So we're gonna do Mouse's Christmas Gift, which was a book that you got from Abu and Nando for Christmas last year. Hi, Athena. Athena. Up. Up. Come on, girl. Come on. Athena, come on. Athena, come. Come here. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Lay down. Lay down. Oh my goodness. Would you just lay down? No? All right. Fine. Forget you then. All right. Mouse's Christmas Gift. Mouse shivered in the drafty sanctuary of the church. The room looked bleak and bare. Where was Parson? Mouse scurried over to the parson's empty study and glanced at the calendar. December 23rd. Something wasn't right. That mouse is wearing a button-down shirt and a vest. He's a very dapper mouse. Unlike the mouse we saw on today's walk. You missed that one. That was a very dead mouse. Very gross. As he crept back to the sanctuary, Mouse glanced around the room and realized what was missing. In the storage closet, he burrowed through boxes, searching until he found the right one. Could he arrange the delicate figurines? Pulling and prodding, lugging and lifting, Mouse worked until he finished the job. When he was done, sweet baby Jesus slept in the manger. Beside him stood Joseph and Mary, God's faithful servants. There was a magnificent angel that announced the greatest message of joy the earth would ever know. The lowly shepherds and sheep, chosen to hear and spread the good news, were there. What? No, I'll play your game for you. You play it. I play my own game. Right? I know. And last but not least, the wise men from the east who followed the star and brought gifts to the King of Kings. But something still did not feel right. Where could Parson be? Mouse ducked through the crack in the wall. He raced through his tunnels until his wet nose poked into the small living quarters in the back of the church. Parson, your fever is worse, his wife said as she brushed her hand across his forehead. Parson began to cough. I guess I have no choice, he mumbled as he pulled the quilt over his thin, shivering frame. Mouse watched Parson's wife nail a note to the door of the old church. Christmas Eve service canceled. Mouse's tail drooped. Parson had never canceled a Christmas Eve service before. Mouse had to do something. But what? Yeah? You saying stuff? I like when you say stuff. Back to the boxes. He tripped and fell on something hard and made a fuss. He had an idea. Mouse would set a sturdy candle in the window of the old church and light its wick. The glow filled the room. Would anyone see it? That night, Mouse stared at the nativity in the soft glow of the candlelight as he drifted off to sleep in the cutest little mouse quilt ever. Across town, Alexander Stevens peered out his window into the starry night. The streets of the village were deserted. Decorations stayed tucked away. Grim, worried villagers repeated the phrase, "No money for Christmas." Alexander sighed. It really takes money to celebrate Christmas. In the distance, he saw the silhouette of the old church, strong steeple pointing toward heaven. He blinked, but he blinked again. Was that a light in the window? While his parents slept, Alexander stepped softly out into the crisp air and gathered pine branches and holly, forming a circle. He ran to the church door and hung his meager wreath in place. Joy to the world, Alexander whispered to himself as he headed back home. The next day, Lizzie Jenkins noticed Alexander's wreath on the door of the church. She pointed and said to her sister, "That pine tree looks bare standing next to the wreath. Let's tie our hair ribbons on the branches to decorate for Christmas." From his forge, the blacksmith watched hair ribbons, quilting squares and scraps of fabric appear on the tree. As many passers-by stopped to add a decoration, he began to heat and shape a piece of scrap metal into a shining star. Yeah, well, because you play like crazy, so yeah, you've gotten all of the characters. Here, do this one. When the blacksmith thought no one was looking, he carried a ladder over and set the star in its place. Out her window, Widow Bartholomew's eyes studied the blacksmith as he placed the star on top of the tree. A smile crept onto her face. She looked in her cupboard and spotted a jar of strawberry jam she had saved for a special occasion. Then she set to baking bread. That night, on Christmas Eve, a small group of villagers gathered in front of the darkened church. Mouse peered out the window, and his heart began to pound. They came! He raced to the door frame and unlocked the latch. The townspeople talked and whispered in front of the church. It's been a while since I've been to church. Where's Parson and his wife? I think he's been ill. They tried the door and found it unlocked. I could light a fire in the stove, said the blacksmith. I've brought my bread and strawberry jam to share, added Widow Bartholomew. The villagers sat in the pews and looked at each other. What next? We have our voices, said Mrs. Stevens. So they began to sing. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul found its word. A thrill of hope, the weary folk rejoicing. I always mess that part up, don't I? Well, that's okay. Parson heard the music from his bed. What was going on? He wrapped himself in his quilt and walked to the door. His wife followed behind. As they entered the chapel, someone began reading from the Bible. Luke chapter 2. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. Parson sat down in a pew and stared. Why had the people come? Who set up the nativity? Had he left the church unlocked? He closed his eyes and listened. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, the Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You'll find a baby wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger. Parson smiled. Good news of great joy. The baby Jesus is the Savior for all people. He fills our greatest need. Mouse watched from his home in the wall, a smile on his face. He nibbled a bit of bread and strawberry jam. Christmas Eve, all was well. Just a little spool for a sidekick. That's adorable. Okay, now let's continue on to this. All right, so we're on the last story of our Christmas is Coming section of our Christmas Stories book. And each section ends with a song. I don't know the tune to this song, so I kind of sing-song it, but it's not the best. It's I saw three ships. I saw three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning. Pray with their sail, the ships all three on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Pray with their sail, the ships all three on Christmas Day in the morning. Oh, they sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Oh, they sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day in the morning. And all the bells on earth shall ring on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. And all the bells on earth shall ring on Christmas Day in the morning. And all the angels in heaven shall sing on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. And all the angels in heaven shall sing on Christmas Day in the morning. And all the souls on earth shall sing on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. And all the souls on earth shall sing on Christmas Day in the morning. And now we're into the magical moments section. Where are we at? Come on. Show me the time. There we go. 10:14. Smartwatches, man. They're helpful and not helpful. All right. So next we are into The Nutcracker and the Mouse King. Adapted from a story by E. Hoffman. Fritz and Marie have a godfather who always brings them wonderful presents. On Christmas Eve, Dr. Stahlbaum's children were not allowed to set foot in the living room. Fritz and Marie sat together and waited. In whispers, Fritz told his younger sister that he had seen Godfather Drosselmeyer. At that, Marie clapped her hands and cried, "Oh, what do you think Godfather Drosselmeyer has made for us?" At that moment, a bell rang. The doors flew open and a flood of light streamed in. "Come in, children," said Papa and Mama. The children stood silently with shining eyes. Then Marie found a silk dress hanging on the tree. And Fritz reviewed his new squadron of soldiers who were fitted in red and gold uniforms. Just then, the bell rang again. Knowing that Godfather Drosselmeyer would be unveiling his present, Joey ran to the table that had been set up beside the wall. The screen that had hidden it was taken away, and the children saw a magnificent castle with dozens of sparkling windows and golden towers. Chimes played as pretty ladies and gentlemen strolled around, and children in little skirts danced. Fritz said, "Father Drosselmeyer, let me go inside your castle." "Impossible," said Mr. Drosselmeyer. "But I don't really care for it," said Fritz. "My squadron of soldiers are not shut up in a house." Marie did not want to leave the Christmas table, as she had just caught sight of something. When Fritz marched away, Marie noticed a little wooden man. "Oh, Father dear," Marie cried out, "who does the little man belong to?" "Dear child," said Dr. Stahlbaum, "he belongs to us. He will crack hard nuts for you with his teeth." Dr. Stahlbaum lifted his wooden cloak, and the little man opened his mouth wide. Marie put in a nut, and a crack. The little man bit it in two. The shell fell down, and Marie found the kernel in her hand. Fritz ran over to his sister. He chose the biggest nut. All of a sudden, crack, crack. 3 little teeth fell out of the nutcracker's mouth. "Oh, my poor little nutcracker," Marie cried. "He's just a stupid fool," said Fritz. "He calls himself a nutcracker and his teeth are no good." "No, no," Marie cried. "He's my dear nutcracker." Sobbing, Marie wrapped the little man in her handkerchief. Marie's mother put out all the candles. leaving only one lamp. Go to bed soon, she said, or you won't be able to get up tomorrow. As soon as Marie was alone, she looked at the Nutcracker. Dear Nutcracker, she said softly, I'm going to take care of you until you're well and happy again. Oh, look at that Jukin. Oh, you're crazy. Marie placed him next to the other toys in a glass cabinet in the living room. She shut the door and was going to her bedroom when she heard whispering and shuffling. The clock rolled 12 times. Then she heard giggling and squeaking all around her, followed by the sound of 1,000 little feet scampering behind the walls. Oh, it's horrifying. Soon Marie saw mice all over the room, and in the end they formed ranks. At the same time, Marie saw a strange glow inside the toy cabinet. All at once, Nutcracker jumped from the table. Trusty drummer, cried the Nutcracker, sound the advance. All the boxes containing Fritz's army burst open. Soldiers climbed out and jumped to the bottom shelf. Then they formed ranks on the floor. A few moments later, guns were going boom, boom. Mice advanced and overran some of the artillery positions. Both sides fought with grim determination. For a long while, victory hung in the balance. Then the mice brought up more troops. Nutcracker was in dire peril. He tried to jump over the ledge of the toy cabinet, but his legs were too short. At that moment, the Mouse King charged the Nutcracker. Without quite knowing what she was doing, Marie took off her left shoe and flung it with all her might. At that moment, everything vanished from Marie's sight. She fell to the floor in a faint. When Marie awoke from her deep sleep, she was lying in her own little bed. Oh, mother dear, Marie whispered. Have all the nasty mice gone away? Was the Nutcracker safe? Don't talk such nonsense, child, said her mother. What have the mice got to do with the Nutcracker? Oh, mother, Marie broke in. There was a big battle between the dolls and the mice. The mice were going to capture the Nutcracker, so I threw my shoe at the mice. And after that, I don't know what happened. Then Godfather Drosselmeyer came to visit. I brought you something, he told Marie. He reached in his pocket and took out the Nutcracker, who he had fixed as good as new. Marie cried out for joy. That night, Marie was awakened in the moonlight by a strange rumbling. Then she saw the Mouse King squeeze through the hole in the wall. He jumped onto the table beside Marie's bed. Give me your candy, he said, or I'll bite your Nutcracker into pieces. And he slipped back into the hole. Marie was so frightened that she could hardly say a word. That night she put her whole supply of sweet things at the foot of the toy cabinet. Next morning, the candy was gone. Marie was happy because she had saved the Nutcracker. That night, the Mouse King returned. Give me your beautiful dress and all your picture books, he hissed. The next morning, Marie went to the toy cabinet sobbing and said to the Nutcracker, oh dear, what can I do? If I give that horrid Mouse King all my books and my dresses, he'll just keep asking for more. The Nutcracker said in a strained whisper, just get me a sword. At that, his words ebbed away and his eyes became fixed. Marie asked Fritz for a sword. Fritz slung it around the Nutcracker's waist. The next night, at the stroke of 12, Marie heard clanging and crashing in the parlor, and then suddenly she heard a loud squeak. Soon Marie heard a soft knocking at the door and a faint little voice. Miss Stahlbaum, open the door and have no fear. I bring good news. Marie swiftly opened the door and found that the Nutcracker had turned into a prince. The prince took Marie's hand and told her how he was really Godfather Drosselmeyer's nephew, and an evil spell had turned him into a Nutcracker. He said that when he defeated the Mouse King, the spell was broken and he was turned back into a prince. Marie fell to the floor. When she opened her eyes, she was laying in her little bed, and her mother was standing there. How can anyone sleep so long? Her mother exclaimed. One day, Marie's mother came into her room and said, your godfather's nephew from Nuremberg is here, so be sure to be on your best behavior. Marie turned as red as a beetroot when she saw the young man. He went down on one knee and said, Miss Stahlbaum, you see at your feet the happiest of men whose life you saved on this very spot. Please come and reign with me over Marzipan Castle. Marie said softly, of course I will come with you. And she left in a golden chariot. And Marie is still queen of a country, but the most wonderful things can be seen as long as you have the right sort of eyes for it. Where are we? Oh, we're already at 20 minutes. Well, we did technically read 3 things, didn't we? All right. So, that's where we'll stop for tonight. What do you think about that? Hey, look, see, you got another guy. Oh, well, kind of stuff happens. All right. So we will continue our read through our book tomorrow. Right? And now it is bedtime, sweet boy. All right, so we gotta get ready for bed. Can you say goodnight to the camera? Or we're just gonna keep playing Crossy Road because that's the only thing of importance worth doing. All right. All right, guys. We will see you tomorrow night with more Christmas stories. Good night.